What's up, everybody? Just real quick, I want to remind you guys that the giveaway is still open. It's going to close when we hit 1,000 subscribers, so we're almost there. Don't forget to comment down below with the hashtag road to 1K if you want to enter the giveaway. Good luck to all the entries, and thanks so much for watching. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to No Counters, No Combos, and today I'm going to be bringing you a deck that was heavily requested from one of our recent Battle Chamber videos. It's basically, Namekians or Piccolo Namekians. I like the deck. It's a lot of fun. I love the Namekians themselves as characters. So naturally, when the structure deck was announced, I knew I was going to play it in some, form, shape, or fashion. I do like this leader a lot better than the Piccolo leader, and I'll tell you why. So let's go over the leader. Front side, very generic. Attack a battle card, attack a leader, draw a card, and then you awaken at 4 or less life and untap 2 energy. The backside is really good. The backside is once per turn, active main, you can use a green energy to destroy a battle card on your opponent's side of the field that's 5 or less, and then he gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So he becomes a 20k attacker, and then when he attacks, of course, you can draw a card. And the effect doesn't require any bond or anything like that. It's just tap a green, pop a card. It's very, very good. It's very useful right now in this meta, getting rid of all those pesky blockers. Doesn't have an answer to barrier, but it is what it is. So that's the leader. So let's get right into the deck. This is a green-blue variant. So I'm going to go over exactly why I chose to play blue when we get to it. But for right now, we're going to start off with the green. And of course, we're playing 4 Planet Nameks. Now, Planet Namek is basically your deck, your biggest tutor of the deck. Once per turn for 1 green energy, you discard a card, and you can look at the up to the top 5 cards of your deck and put a Namekian in play that's cost 2 or less. So basically, you're playing your Namekians for 1 less energy if they're a 2-drop, or you're just on curve with the 1-drop. So this deck does have a lot of 2-drops in it, and a lot of the good Namekians are 2-drops. The reason I play 4 is because I want to see this card as early as possible. By turn 1 or 2, I want it played, and then the other ones later on in the game, they are dead, but you could just pitch them with the Planet Namek effect itself. So it's not that bad of a card. It's pretty balanced. I think it could have been a little better, but they didn't want to make another busted Planet Vegeta card, so I understand why they did what they did. But all in all, it is a pretty good card. Next, we have 4 Gift of Power Guru. It is what it is. The Namekian archetype just got released with set 4, so there's not really too many power cards or too many cards in general. But Guru's not bad. It's a 1-drop. It's anything. If anything, it's energy, chargeable energy, a free 5k combo. Its effect is once per turn, active main. You target one of your Namekians and give him 5,000 power. So it does pump up your guys a little bit. He doesn't have barrier or anything like that, so if you get him out there, he's not really going to last too long if your opponent plays a board wipe. But you have to run 50 cards. So if I find a better card to replace it with, I'll let you guys know for sure. Next we have 4 Kind-Hearted Dende. As you guys know from most of my deck profiles, I love tutors. So the fact that you could look at the top 3 for a Namekian, add it to your hand, there's no cost restriction. So you can add a super combo, you can add a higher drop. You can add basically whatever piece that you might need to get your engine rolling. This deck does focus on a lower curve, so you're not really playing anything with a high cost. But even if you were, it doesn't have a cost restriction. Dende is really good. I really like hitting Dende off of Planet Namek. If I don't have a target and I just hit a Dende and I add a card to my hand, most of the time I want to add a super combo, obviously, when you look at the top 3. And then we're going to get to the 2-drops right now. The first 2-drop we have is Namekian Duo Purina. He's pretty good. He's my least favorite, but I understand why he's essential or why he's needed. He is a draw card. He does put pressure. Basically, once per turn during your main, you can put a Namekian underneath him to draw a card and give him plus 10k in critical, so he becomes a 20k swing with crit. I get why that's important, but I don't like hard casting my Namekians in this deck. I like playing them off of Planet Namek, and he's the least favorite one I like to go into. Maybe I'm just bad or I'm playing the deck wrong, but he's my least favorite one. But he is essential for right now until we get better Namekian support in the near future, hopefully. Next card we have is a Dash Pack promo. We have 4 Piccolo Junior ready to driven to fight. This card is bananas early game. Late game, it loses a little bit of its fuel late game, but early game this card is bananas. Before your opponent's leader gets awakened, because it's this 10k attacker, draw cards, bond 2, so you just have to have 2 Namekians on board, and 2 including itself. You draw a card, you put pressure on a 10k leader that's not awakened, and he has barrier, so they're not going to get rid of him unless they attack into him, which is fine because you put so many battle cards on board with your Namekians or your Planet Namek that they kind of work essentially as blockers, because your opponent has to get rid of your board, if they want to kill you efficiently. So by you turboing out all your Namekians and building these huge boards, you can put your opponent in a very sticky situation where they're going to have to use their resources to get rid of your board. Otherwise, you're just going to keep drawing cards, which obviously the name of the game is hand advantage. So we play 4 of him. And then the best card in the deck, we play 4 Nail the Namekian Ace. This card is God. It's Bond, but it doesn't require Namekian, so you can essentially play this in any deck that poops out bodies. I have seen a lot of SS3 variants play Nail because he's so good. He's so value. I mean, he's a 10k attacker. When he attacks, his Bond activates. It gives him plus 5k, you draw a card. So he's kind of like Sister Attack Kale from Tournament of Power. He just nets you advantage. It's such a good card. Definitely an attack target for your opponent. The only problem is it doesn't have barrier, so it can get killed by a removal spell, but that's a resource that your opponent is using to get rid of your battle card, and something that they're not going to have later on in the game as you progress through your turns. But Nail is just such a good card. I'm so good that they printed a good Nail card, because Nail is a boss. Without Nail, Piccolo wouldn't be OG like he is. Then, of course, we have our 4 super combos. Namekian Duel Sonel. This is good because it's a 5 or less, so you can play it. You can play defense on turn 5, and you can awaken when you're ready to awaken. Because it's an untapped 2 leader, you kind of want to control your awakening state to just benefit and get full value off of your energy. And of course, he could be put into play with Planet Namek, which is, it happens sometimes, or you could rip him off the top of with Dende. So, searchable super combos are always very good. Then we have 4 of Power Barrier Piccolo. It's a 2-drop 15k with barrier. Essentially, he's the main target that you want to go into early with Planet Namek, because he has barrier. So you don't swing with him. Obviously, you just let him establish a board presence so he can start, increasing your bond. But he's pretty good. 15k is nothing to laugh at. It does put pressure on Awakened Leader. So late game, if you need to make a push for game, you can of course swing with him. And later on in the game, like as the game progresses, you will have enough Namekians on board to proc your bonds. So I think in the deck that I'm running right now, the largest bond I have is only 2. So you're always going to have at least 2 battle cards on board. And he's just really good because he has barrier, and he does put pressure on Awakened Leaders. So that's it for the battle cards, and then I play 4 green extra cards aside from Planet Namek. I play 4 Sacrifice. So these new negates that were introduced in set 4 that are essentially free by taking a life are very, very good. You tap out a lot, especially early game, and there are certain decks that will blow you out early, like turn 2 or 3. So being able to negate an attack and prevent your opponent from comboing up like an Unyielding or a Sensu Bean or something like that is essential. Late game, they do become kind of clunky, so sometimes I'll charge them late game, but having a free negate early on is very, very useful because it helps you get close to your awakening state. And like I said before, you kind of want to control your awakening turn. So you kind of want to facilitate it to the point where you're awakening on your turn so you can get max value out of your energy, like I said before. 4 Sacrifice is really good. So that's it for the green. Now we're going to get into the blue. And this is the main reason I'm playing blue is because of Sensu Bean, because Sensu Bean is such a good card. But the Namekians don't have a free blocker. So I did some digging, and I found this guy from set 1, Taunting Piccolo. It's a bad card, right? It's a 2-drop 10k blocker. It's bad, right? But with this deck, because you have Planet Namek, Planet Namek doesn't specify that it has to be a green Namekian. So you can flip him into play off of Planet Namek, and it gives you your blocker. Because Namekians don't have a blocker, which I understand why they don't. Because if they gave Namekians a free blocker, it would facilitate their bond much easier, which I understand they try to keep the game balanced. But then there's cards like, you know, SS3 leaders and Flute. Whatever. It is what it is. There's just no Namekian blocker right now. Hopefully in the future we'll get a free Namekian blocker. But right now we don't have one. So this is as good as it gets. It's kind of nifty that it's blue because it allows you to play a small blue package, which is really beneficial and defensive. But flipping him off of Planet Namek and putting a 10k blocker on board for 1 energy is not too bad. If I get a lot of them early in my hand, I'll just charge them for my blue energy. You really only need 1 blue energy charged for this deck to go off properly. But if I do hit him off of Planet Namek, it's usually a target that I bring in, especially if it's like later in my turn and I'm already done with my offensive push. I kind of just give myself more defense moving into the later turns of the game. But if you're playing Namekians and you're looking for a blocker, this is definitely the way to go. Next, of course, because we're playing blue, I'm playing 4 Senzu Beans. I mean, 4 Senzu Bean is too good. Being able to untap an energy right now in this format is so good because it extends your plays and it gives you accessibility to defensive cards and, you know, 10k combos and stuff like that. And it's so versatile because you could use it offensively and defensively. Like if you slap 2 Senzu Beans on your leader, your opponent's gonna have to combo cards to do damage, and then that's when you just, you know, use your blockers or use your negates, and then they just kind of waste cards to try to kill your leader that way. But use Senzu Bean however your heart's content. I like using like whatever the game situation is. Like I'll let the game state kind of just determine itself. But Senzu Bean is a very, very good card. If you're not playing Senzu Bean right now, you're probably playing like a yellow deck or something. But most people are playing Senzu Bean or some form of untapping this format because it's just too powerful. And then obviously because we're playing blue, you know, I'm playing the 4 Whis Coercion. I mean, why not? I need more defense because this deck gets slaughtered by like Hirudegarn and all these storm decks out right now. So I'm playing 8 negates main board and 4 blockers. So essentially I'm playing 12 negates if you want to look at it that way. But negates are really helpful because it prevents your opponent from comboing. It's a very combo heavy format right now. So if you can stop your opponent's attacks, preventing them from comboing, they're not going to be able to recycle their same energies and turbo out battle cards for low costs or like, you know, reusable energy and stuff like that. So like if you're playing against a blue leader and you negate their attack, you essentially stop them from sensuing or unyielding, which is going to extend their plays. So you kind of need survivability in this deck. And most like aggro decks aren't playing a lot of cards with barrier. So once you're awakened, you could just pop their field and you don't have to worry about stuff like that. Like you don't have to worry about Chain Zeno because you could just pop the Trunks unless they hard cast the Trunks and then Chain Zeno you, which is fine because you draw a new hand anyway, so it's really not that bad. I mean, you'll lose your field, but it is what it is. So 4 Whis Coercion for sure. And then the last 2 cards I play, which is like a staple right now in the format, is 2 Scientist Foos. You go through so many cards in this deck. Usually by like turn 3, you have 7 in drop. You can just play a Scientist Foo for super value, tap 1 energy, and just draw 2 cards. And it's a late game finisher. Your opponent doesn't really expect it when you're playing with Namekians because they're just noticing a pattern that everything is such a low cost. And they just kind of like, okay, yeah, that's fine, no problem. And you just slap this bad boy on turn there. You draw 2 cards, you know, and then you just kind of try to go in for face with Scientist Foo. It's a very, very good card, this format. I've said it in the past, if you're not playing Foo right now and you're winning, show me what deck you're running because Foo is just so good to not take advantage of. So that's pretty much the deck. I mean, like I said, I like it. It's primarily a fun deck, but I really do like the Namekians themselves. I really hope that they get more support in the future. And if you guys are looking for some spice to run it like a local or something for fun, definitely try it out. Building huge boards and drawing cards is always really fun when you're playing a TCG. So by all means, you know, try it out and let me know how it works for you. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, guys. We're right on the precipice of 1K. I can smell it. So share this with whoever you need to share it. Let's get to 1,000. Let's grow together. Otherwise, I appreciate all the support. If you haven't entered the giveaway, please do so. And we'll see you in the next video. Be there or be squared.